So let's kind of talk about adding color in your piece and changing colors and whatnot. We've already discussed the easiest way to change colors whenever we did our swatch of stitches, which that technique, if you want to add a new color, you just start on the row that you are beginning with the new color, and you just pull the new color through. My yarn is splitting on me. Pull that yarn through, wrap the short piece of yarn over the working yarn, and then start crocheting with the working yarn. With our granny squares, we talked about a couple more ways to add color, and that was the technique we just learned. If you're going to add a new round to this one, you can do it by just pulling the yarn through like we did with the rows and starting your new round with that way. Or you can start with a slip knot on your hook and begin that way. Or you can start with the way that I kind of work with, which is wrapping the yarn around your finger, inserting the hook, and then inserting that into the granny square. And you can use all three of these on row work, not just making the rounds of the granny square. If you're starting a new row of a new color, you can start that way as well. But what about adding color in the middle of the row, or just the same color if you were working on a piece and you run out of your yarn and you need to add a new ball of yarn to finish a row? That is where this other technique comes in. So I have this piece here. We're in the middle of this row, and I'm going to add a new color. So let's say I just finished that stitch and I don't have that much yarn left, and I need to change to my other ball of yarn in the middle of the row because I know I can't make it to the end of this row with the amount of yarn that I have left. So this kind of works the way our decreases worked. You do all of the stitch except for the last step, which is usually pulling through the last 2 loops on your hook. So we're doing double crochets here. So I wrap around, insert into the next stitch, wrap around and pull through the first 2, and then this will be my last step. So if I'm adding the other ball of yarn to this, get the end here. So I'm just going to pull this new piece through the top 2 stitches. That finishes off that stitch with the yarn that we had right here. So, and you don't want to pull the tail of that stitch too much, but you do want to keep it there. And then this is our new stitch, these 2 pieces right here. See how I can pull them and that tightens up on my hook. So what I like to do when I add this first piece of yarn is I like to stitch over both of the ends with the first stitch only. So wrap over, insert into the next stitch, and just make your double crochet. And I'm crocheting over the 2 ends just to lock those in right now. And then I'll go back and weave them in whenever I'm finished. And you can kind of adjust them by pulling the ends to make sure the stitches are laying right. And then I move those ends to the back. I just finished that row with the new yarn. So that's how you add a new piece of yarn to the middle of your work.